Why are there only a dozen or so carts in front of a huge supermarket? Darren's behavior suggests that he woke up a second ago, because he was apparently sleeping under the shelves in his uniform. And why are there 11 stars on the American flag instead of 50? One of the main characters in the film is a wiener named Barry, who for some unknown reason is different from the others in both color, length, and thickness, and the producers do not explain why. And no one told the director that meat products are always stored in the refrigerator. In this universe, food manufacturers make goods with Nazi symbols on the packaging, and customers have no problem buying them. And I would like to understand how a customer is supposed to get to the goods on the high shelves. You practically have to take the ladder to do that. Mustard is one of those products that cannot be returned to the shelves. Aquavite threatens the mustard at the top of his voice, but no other living soul on the entire shelf hears him. Coincidentally, the same customer who took Frank's package of Frankfurters also takes a package of the sandwiches with his girlfriend. At the end of the day, in the big supermarket, all the shelves are full of goods, and only the enemas are all sold out, even though they are one of the least bought goods. And if everyone has normal legs, why does only Lavender have to walk on her hands? With Mustard it is even stranger. He has legs the first time he is caught. He does not have even a hint of legs when he is brought back, but he has legs again the second time he is caught. In addition, there is a very serious problem with the fourth dimension in the film, since the movement of the food in the eyes of humans is perceived as if they are simply slipping due to gravity. But in this case, no law of physics can explain how the mustard goes back up after slipping. And it is pointless to ask the authors how this scene could appear to humans in real time. The two collide with the carts as if they were running through the store with their eyes closed. A simple drop of groceries from a meter high caused them terrible injuries, as if they had fallen from the 10th floor onto the sidewalk, and I don't understand. The customer slammed her cart into another person's cart with such force that half of her items flew off and were destroyed, and she keeps walking as if nothing happened. Shouldn't she stop and pick up the items that remained intact and then return to the shelves to pick up the ones that were shattered? In an attempt to save the mustard, Frank exited the package through a large hole in the side, but at the checkout counter this package is already completely intact.
Oh, did you two do this to me? Are you two responsible for my nozzle being irrepressibly fucked up?
What did they have to do with it? Everything happened because of a cart collision, which Frank's attempt to save the mustard had nothing to do with. Why did Darren call the cleaner in the second round if he is, after all, the cleaner himself? Lavender is made of plastic and could in no way denter him. The package lies at the top of the stairs by a bang, but the juice only begins to spill out when Lavender approaches us here. Later it turns out that Lavender, by drinking the contents of the other goods, becomes a powerful monster for some reason. Oh, and since she has such regeneration that even her quill has gone straight again, why hasn't the cut on her side healed?
Decent aisle in the store. They tried to send us to the barbecue section, for God's sake.
Jewish bread in the store could only be sold in the bread department, where it could not be replaced by sausages, which are always sold in the meat department. They party all night long in the liquor and vodka store, and we will never know what kind of equipment they use to play music, or how all this is not visible from the surveillance cameras. The fire cannot cast defined shadows on the walls as if they were spotlights. Aquavite recounts how his people have been driven off their native shelves by the accursed alien crackers. But then again, a situation where alcohol is removed from grocery stores and replaced with cookies is not possible, since supermarkets sell the two products in two different departments, many feet apart. The dream catcher is so low that it almost touches the characters, while in the top view it hangs several times higher. Remarkably, the products not only hold parties secretly from people, but even set up bars for their gatherings. Okay, that this pyramid was made by the store's employees, but who made the interior with the railings, counter and all? Tequila, of course, could have taken the hero straight to the villain, but that ruins the plot, so he takes them to the bar and from there goes to find Lavender, only to find that by the time they return they have already disappeared.
Get your crotch off my nose! Hey.
There is no reason for Bagel to smash his face into Lavash's stomach with all that empty space behind him.
Go over to this fucking aisle with all these illegal products.
Since when is Mexican food illegal?
I'm gonna do something fucked up to you now as soon as I get you in close. Come here.
Does he seriously believe him after this one insults him and acts crazy?
The coyotes used this tunnel to smuggle some of us out of the aisle in hope of a better life.
Why? The purpose of the live food is to be bought and get into the great beyond. What do they gain by moving somewhere inside the store where employees will bring them back to the Mexican section anyway? Gee, this movie is full of metaphors that make no sense. Here we go again. The elderly explain their long stay in the store by the lack of an expiration date, but this does not explain at all why they are not bought. And if they are hiding, what does it matter whether they have an expiration date or not? And I doubt they could have created a religion in which some sort of heaven outside the store plays a key role, since if customers can return the food on the shelves, then there should be chock full of witnesses to the truth about the great beyond. Okay, they can shut some people up, but certainly not everyone. The full moon cliché is also present here. When the customer peeled the potato, her eyes had to come off along with the peel. And why doesn't she cut the tomato in the normal way but slams the knife with full force on the table? And here are the impossible movements again. The escape of the mini carrots looks as if they naturally rolled to the edge of the table, but the sausages have climbed up on the windowsill where they could not naturally reach. Yet the lady cuts Carl, not only not wondering how he got there, but also doing it in the best tradition of movie maniacs. Cliché, fleeing from death, characters always have to stumble for dramatic effect and save themselves at the last second from death. Okay, in this universe, there is an enema next to live products, but it is still a product in a store. So why would there now be a used condom alive and then a roll of paper towels? By this logic, all objects should be alive with eyes, arms, and legs, including shoes, benches, cars, and lamp posts. The cliché of the romantic couple fighting in the middle of the film and then declaring eternal love at the end. Why do people now move like slow Godzillas weighing several tons, while at first they walked at a normal speed? This film, in all seriousness, gave the audience instructions on how to get high on bath salts. Barry does not want to be seen by the human, so for no reason he gets on the table and walks in the light trying to be inconspicuous. Here it turns out that drug people begin to observe and feel the products in their real form, entering the fourth dimension. But this confuses the situation even more with the movements of the products in front of non-drug people, because it is not clear what a sober person will see when looking at the same nighttime disco of products. In front of him there will be 100 bottles and cans, crawling back and forth unaided.
No legs, you fuck! You ate my goddamn leg!
While every slice of pizza has its own eyes, mouths, and limbs, who knows what the pizza looks like before it is cut? The addict's apartment is home to Gamma, the Stephen Hawking of the grocery world. Who knows the escape route? But why didn't the food in the addict's house long ago escape with his help? They did not have a single reason to sit and wait to die until a sausage arrived. The addict has come to his senses and can't feel the food anymore, but he should still see the groceries run away as he grabs them with his hand. Yo, and if he can't hear them, how does he wake up with Barry's scream in his ear? The tap water took a 10,000th of a second to boil. Because slamming into a rack of knives, the knives jabbed with such speed as if they had been thrown from a skyscraper. And no store would ever display 100 impact sharp knives on a rack so rickety that a sausage could knock it over, unless the goal was to pay $1 million to the first victim of the accident. I realize that in the fourth dimension, ordinary images of people eating turn into a carnival of horrors. But since when have recipe books all centered on people chewing rather than ordinary images of cooked food? Lavender breaks the bottle's non-existent neck. On the keyboard, instead of the Windows button, there is a camera button, and it seems especially odd when you consider that no store has a system for displaying cashiers' faces on screens. And what was the point of Frank's impassioned speech to open the food industry's eyes to a better world? The legend was invented precisely to create a happy society living in ignorance of a terrible end. Frank can't save anyone from that fate, so what does he want? To plunge everyone back into mortal terror so that they suffer and become depressed? In showing Darren opening the store, the screenwriters used footage from the beginning of the film with the same July 2 date on his wristwatch. The finale takes place on Independence Day, July 4, so yesterday must have been date 03. In this scene, the little sausage has gained the strength and mass of a grown man. And I will never believe that a food group managed to start a car, drive it to the store, sneak into the ventilation system, and carry a severed head with them all this time. According to the typical law of cinematic coincidences, the package of sandwiches the protagonist's beloved literally ended up in the cart of the first customer who crossed the threshold, so much so that Frank had to heroically rescue her at the last moment. Frank is looking through binoculars from his own hands, and the customer has somehow managed to fit an entire cart full of products into a small box. How do the toothpicks pierce clothes and stick into the body like iron dots? The concentration of the substance at the tip of a toothpick is about 1,000 times less than that required to achieve a narcotic effect on the body, and here it is as if everyone had injected a whole syringe of it into their intravenous system. Frank urgently needs to fly to the store exit, and the randomly deflating balloon will surely go there. Second cliché of the last-second rescue. And the escape would have been much more difficult if the tire chair had not acquired the power of a Formula One racing car. In showing the balloon machine guns, the authors forgot that the level of bullets in the tanks must decrease rapidly, and that to remove a balloon it is necessary to insert a coin each time. And he fires 8 shots with his revolver with the capacity of 6 bullets. And thank you for celebrating the death of the customers, guilty only of deciding to go shopping early in the morning on this terrible day. Frank is blindfolded at the spot where he was bitten by Lavender. The blindfold was forgotten to join this scene, only to be rebuilt in the finale. And seriously, the director forced the animators to draw all this crap? That then the film started very well with a deep meaning about religion and the afterlife, only to end up in total trash at the end for no logical reason. Aquavite found out that everyone around them are actually cartoon characters, and they go to the real world to confront the authors, even though, according to their own logic, being a figment of their imagination, they are unable to do anything of their own free will. Write in the comments the next movie whose mistakes you would like to see, and don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Don't miss the silly mistakes in upcoming movies.